Welcome to another episode of the Nintendo Powercast. I'm your host, N64 Josh, on this NPC Live. And we're going to let people just roll in here shortly. And while we do, I want to let you guys know that if you would like to get all of your episodes ad-free, all you need to do is subscribe either on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify. And you're going to get an exclusive episode, which is dropping today for subscribers only. Captain N64 Josh is making a return. So, if you'd like to go on the adventures of Captain N64 Josh, that is your exclusive episode to subscribers only via Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Today's question is, what is your dream retro collection? So what is your dream retro collection? And of course, you can jump into the conversation after the fact on Discord, n64josh.com/discord, or you can tweet at me at n64josh, and we can talk about what is your dream collection. Now, this question came via Servant asking me what are the games that I typically look for when I go retro game shopping. And that, so it kind of got me thinking. And a lot of times, I have the majority of the games I would like in my collection, but there are still some that I don't have yet. So we're gonna dive into that question a little bit, as well as just maybe what are some of my goals with retro game collecting, and what I typically look for, and some of my adventures as a retro game collector, because I've definitely hit some scores along the way. So we're just kind of letting people roll in. I see Becca is here. What is going on? And I know a few others will be here shortly. But I think to kick this off, guys, I want to talk about some of my adventures with retro collecting. So here's a pro tip. I know if you've been listening to the show for a long time, you've heard me mention this before, but if you go out, we're getting to the time of year in the States anyway, where people do garage sales. And if you're not in the States, the garage sale, I think it's similar. I think they call it like I want to say like a car boot or something like that, a car boot sale, something along those lines. I can't remember exactly. Somebody can correct me, of course, but it's essentially where you go to people's houses, and they usually have their garage open and they have a bunch of their stuff for sale. Now, Nintendo games, DSs, all that they're all out there. The trick sometimes, though, here's the trick. You find different people. This has been my experience. Sometimes what I recommend doing, the pro tip is this: ask if they have Nintendo stuff. There are times that there are people that maybe their kids had the Nintendo stuff, like a lot of times it's people that are like my parents' age, so like usually like 60s, uh maybe even 50s, and they don't realize that there's much value there, right? But for them, they're just excited to get rid of this stuff. So you can be like, "Yo, do you have Nintendo stuff?" They're like, "Actually, my addict, I do. 1 second." And they'll go get it, and you should be like $20 for the box, and they're like, "Yes, please," because it's covered in dust. They just want to get rid of it, right? I've also had circumstances, and I kick myself for this one. I'll tell the story here. I'm still kicking myself for this one. I do. Before I get started, though, Dan Little, what's up? Welcome. I see Nate is here. Anybody else just rolling in? So glad you're here with us live. Again, we shoot for 10 a.m. Pacific. We're running a little bit late today, but that's kind of par for the course with me. So you guys know. You guys know. But so glad to see you guys. We're talking retro game hunting and what your dream retro collection would be. Okay. I see Psychics is here also. I believe that's how you say it. Welcome on in. Good to see you. And thank you for the follow on Twitch. I appreciate it. So there was this yard sale. I walk up, and now there was somebody digging through these boxes. And we're talking like not a small amount of Game Boy games, Game Gear games, GBA games, DS games. Okay. And all kinds of Game Boys, SPs, Advance, the OG Game Boy, DSs. I mean, it was not a small number of consoles. Okay. And they just had it out, and they didn't even have prices on it. And I put a box together real quick, and I said, how much for this? And they said, I think they said $10. And I was like, let's add more then. And if there had not been somebody else digging through the stuff with me, I literally would have just taken 3 like they were like decent size, probably like, I don't know, a foot and a half wide, or by like a foot, or 8 to 10 inches, just full of the Game Boy games. It wasn't super deep. And I kick myself because I should have just said, "Hey, here's $20. I'm taking all this." And they would have said, "Yes, get it out." Like, she was like, "Yes, get that stuff out of here." She had no idea that she had literally, I'm not exaggerating, she had probably sold me between potentially $500 to $1,000 worth of stuff, just from all the games and all the consoles and everything. Now, I still collect, so I'm not necessarily reselling, and I was just like, I was beyond excited. Okay. So there are those times, and you post pictures of this stuff and people are like, "Oh, this never happens to me." But it can. It can if you're out looking. All right? Like, there was another instance where I get a call from Jen and she's like, "Yo, they have DSs here and Pokemon games." I'm like, "Just get them all." She's like, "Okay." I talked him down to $15. Comes back with a purple 3DS, Pokemon Soul Silver. Now, I had already had from another yard sale, I'd already had the pedometer or whatever that goes with that game. So I'll talk about that. It wasn't a yard sale, it was a Facebook deal. Um, $15. Like, multiple Pokemon games, Soul Silver, which is not a cheap game, right? Because a lot of times people just don't realize what they have and they're just wanting to get rid of it. So if you're looking for something fun to do and you want to go retro, like, and honestly, I say make content around it. I'm gonna start going out some of these weekends coming up, and I'm just gonna make some vlogs, and we'll throw them up on YouTube, and you guys will be able to see some. I mean, there's a lot of times I've gone out and had nothing, right? And there's sometimes people know what they have. I had an instance where this guy was selling Wii U games. I knew nobody was gonna buy them. I knew. I knew. And he was like, "No, I need to sell this for this price." I'm like, "You're not going to sell them." Right. He gave me a handful of them. I think I got like, I think I got an extra copy of like Galaxy 2 that day. And like, so there was Wii and Wii U titles. I got like the Mario Tennis that was on Wii U. But he wouldn't sell me the Batman for, unless it was like, and he wanted like $30 for it. And I'm like, you're not going to get it. It was right at the time where the Wii U was still available, but all the games had dropped significantly in value. Right now, they've all gone way up in value. So I want to give a quick shout out to Servant, who's here. Car Gaming Joe is here. What's up, everybody? Welcome, guys. We are chatting retro games. What is your dream retro collection? And just kind of, some of the ways I go out retro hunting. And Servant asked the question, what are the consoles I'm typically looking for? And so there was another instance where somebody put a Facebook post that said, "Does anybody buy Nintendo games?" So immediately jumped on that. $50. $50. It had complete inbox, like an insane amount of games. Star Wars games, Super Star Wars, Super Empire Strikes Back, Super Return of the Jedi, a bunch of sports titles that I still have a lot of the boxes. Just unbelievable. I think that's where the Pokemon pedometer, it was in the bottom of this box, and anytime I see anything Pokemon, even though I'm like, I have no clue what this is, I just threw it in my, like, I'm like, just leave it in the, leave it in the collection, because, well, lo and behold, I end up with Soul Silver. And now all of a sudden that the value of both those things increase because I have them together. So the, that was just such a great lot of games. It also had Secret of Mana from the Super Nintendo with the map. Okay, well, that right there, I don't know what it goes for now. I can do a quick search on eBay here, but like, it was, it at the time, it was worth that alone. Those two things combined were worth like $80. So that right there would have paid for that that collection. Um, I have had I've seen other people, like, they'll post up a lot of games, and like they 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 were looking to get presents for their kids for Christmas. So I ended up with a Super Nintendo, an NES, right? And I didn't like they said what they were the reason they were selling it, right? And so I didn't try to talk them down much or anything like that. I'm like, "Yo, this is for kids for Christmas, like this is a win for me." It was like 145 bucks, both consoles, another copy of Secret of Mana. The other, like the sequel to Secret of Mana, which I can't remember. I can't remember the name of that one, but like, games that I wasn't super familiar with, but glad to have in my collection because they weren't what I didn't have them previously. So right now it looks like Secret of Mana with the map and the manual, which I think I have both. Yeah, still going for like $75. If you have the whole complete in box, people have it as high as $180. It's crazy. It's crazy what some of uh these prices are. So looking at chat here, it says Servant says PS1 or Dreamcast are your favorite to collect. You love the CD cases. Okay. Nate says I want my copy of Rockin'. I think it says Rockin' Cats, but I think is it Carts? Rockin' Carts? Let me know. Maybe it is Cats, but it's with a K. For the NES. Servant says look up Power Stone 1 and 2 for Dreamcast. Two of my favorite in my collection. Okay, Power Stone. Let's see. Power. Whenever I type too fast, I make so many mistakes. Power Stone Dreamcast. So it looks like for just the disc, you're looking at 60. Power Stone 2, you're looking at 100 with the case. And Power Stone 1 looks like 88 in the case. As low as like 59, 55.99, but there's no manual on that one. It is Rockin' Cats. Okay. Interesting. Let's see. I want to take a look at some of the, if you guys have some favorites, I want to look them up. I'm going to check Rockin' Cats on eBay here. Okay. Interesting. That's not a cheap game, Nate. That's $102 by itself. Okay. Oh yeah, if you guys, Nate and I did a fun episode looking at his collection. He had some gems. He had some absolute gems, including Princess Tomato. Let's look it up here. Princess Tomato NES. Here we go. Yeah, complete in box. Princess Tomato. Guys, it's like claymation. $224 right now. $249. So you're on a little gold mine with that one, that's for sure. So let's see. Servant is saying Chrono Trigger, SNES. Let's take a look. Complete. Now this is an interesting listing. Complete in box plus guide, both posters, very nice condition. They have it at $2,000. Just the cart, $259. Here's a complete in box, excellent condition, $630. Another one, maps and posters for $400. Just the cart graded at an 8.5 grade is $117.50. So there, definitely some valuable games out there. That's for sure. I've had some of my like, for instance, I was going through my collection and I have a bunch I'm holding up. If you guys aren't watching, I'm holding up a Game Boy Advance SP. Now, this one in particular, the serial number, okay, or the model number is AGS 001. Okay, now that's important because If you happen to find one that is AGS 101, which is what this one is, and so it's you can see the difference in color. Again, if you're only listening, you're not obviously not seeing them, but one is a little more charcoal and one is a little more black. Okay, the charcoal one, that's the 101. This is a true backlit screen. It's not just the light that is in the original SP. Well, I didn't even know this was a thing, okay? I just happened to grab one off my shelf. It was charged. I started playing it and I was like, why is this one so like why does this look so good? I remember playing the SP. It has the light that shines up from the bottom. It was never, I mean, it worked, but it was never all that great, right? So the I started researching it. And sure enough, they're worth quite a bit more because of this amazing backlit screen. So when you're out, if you are on the hunt for like GBA, like the SP version, see if you can find the 101. Now I'm gonna do a quick search on eBay here for GBA AGS 101, and they're not crazy expensive, but they are like 200 bucks. And from the looks of things here, now I don't know if these are I don't know if these are all stock or not, but let's just assume that they are. Okay. If you find the Pikachu, which would be so rad to have in the collection, or there's two different Legend of Zelda. There's a Majora's Mask and then one with just the Triforce. It looks like there's also three different besides the Pikachu, there are three other Pokemon ones, a blue, a green, and a red. You have just the charcoal one that I have. It looks like a Famicom, which would be super cool to have. A light blue, a light purple, a dark blue, a silver, and then there's a Super Famicom one as well as the SpongeBob one. Now, I can't promise you that these are all AGS 101. This just says backlit screen. So there could be aftermarket stuff happening here, and they do say eBay refurbished. So they could be adding those screens to the old bodies, in which case you're still getting the same desired look. But you know, there's like here's a graphite black system. It says AGS 101, but it has red buttons. So I don't know if some of these things are stock or not. The I'm looking at a GBA NES, and I think you know what we're gonna do. We're gonna bring up the just the listing that I have here, so you guys can search along with me, and then you can see what it is I'm looking at. So here we go. This is a GBA that looks like an NES. Would be so rad to have in the collection. It looks like yeah, you can see the top of it there, and they've got Zero Mission on there. This one is very clean too. I mean, I can see why it's going for 250, but again, it says AGS 101 brighter. I can't promise you that that's what the serial number says on the back side of this thing, because it says excellent refurbished, new shell, new buttons, new pads, OEM motherboard, and OEM LCD. So I'm fairly certain that that wasn't a 101, a true 101. Again, I could be wrong, but I'm just guessing that is the case. So Servant says the SNES 3DS XL, that thing has jumped in price. I remember when Amazon was almost giving those things away because they weren't selling. But so it looks like opened, they're going for um like almost $400, 350. There's a lot of people selling just the box. Complete in the box, 680. Brand new sealed, 1200. So definitely jumping in price there. One of the ones, one of the 2DS uh XL that I have is the Hylian Shield. That one I have never opened. That's jumped up. That's $1,200 now. I know Crawler's sitting on 2 of those. Like, because I think he pre-ordered and then one showed up, and then he thought one, just in case one didn't show up. So the value of these things is jumping significantly. It's crazy. So let's see. Psychic says, what about a complete copy of Mario Sunshine for GameCube? Let's take a look. Do you know if it's the player's choice or not? That's never that you've never played. So the player's choice, I think they're usually a little less. That one's 40. This one's 50. So they hold their value. The scary thing about discs, you guys, and I don't know how many of you guys know this is a thing. And I learned this from I believe my friend Rob from Nintendo Quest, which you guys have heard. If you've listened to the show a long time, you've heard Rob or Jay or Glenn on this show before. They did the movie Nintendo Quest. There's something new in the works for Nintendo Quest that they've been teasing, which is I think they're going with N64 Quest based on the teasers they've put out there. So, but the problem with discs is something called disc rot, where they will actually start to lose the data, and they become useless, which is scary. The other thing that can happen, especially with some older games, is the batteries die. Now, here's another little pro tip. Just speaking of like, changing batteries. If you take a GBA game, or I'm sorry, a Game Boy game, like I found Samus Returns. Okay, I remember that day in particular. We were out, retro game hunting at garage sales, and they just had a random Samus Returns, which was a game near and dear to my heart. So I was like, "Yo, this is a huge find for me." That battery still worked, but if you don't go and buy the special screwdriver, you could take a ballpoint pen and you can heat up the other end. You can open it up, take the ink out, and the plastic straw looking part of the pen, you can heat that up with a lighter and then shove it over the screw and then just let it harden up, and you can actually undo those screws. I can't remember the name of them, but you can get a special screwdriver on Amazon for it if you want, but they will allow that will allow you to open up and change the battery. So retro video gamer, this is a great conversation. It says Dream Collection would be Earthbound Complete, Super Mario World Complete in Box, Chrono Trigger, CIB, and all GameCube games. I love it. That's great. And Psychic says, I just realized how hard Rainbow Road is without auto drive. That is great. That's so good. So there are the other thing that I just learned about. I was in a retro game store, and I was talking about how I had a Game Gear, and the guy said, good luck playing it. And I was like, what? I don't understand. And he said I want to say he said the conductors on the motherboard or capacitors, something. I don't know the lingo that well, and I apologize. But basically, they're all so cheaply made that there are very few Game Gears that even work anymore. And you have to, depending on how bad the damage is, you can get them, like you can get these capacitors replaced, but most of them are shot, and the system will turn on, but it won't show, nothing shows up on the screen. So I need to test mine and see, but I have a feeling it's not going to work. He seemed pretty certain. Now I haven't dove into this myself, or again even tested mine, and so but I would like to. I should. I should. I want to see if it works, because that was a really fun system to play. Even albeit like you would spend a fortune in batteries just to play it all, but it was like, that was one of those times that Sega felt like next level, but at the expense of like that thing would sit most. I never owned one. I probably borrowed one from a kid at school. But even when I borrowed it, my mom's like, I'm not buying you that many batteries. You're out of your mind, you know? So then I think the next time I borrowed it, they had the AC adapter for it. So I was able to play, but talking like my dream collection and basically the way I collect games is, I want to go complete, right? I want to have a complete collection. So the collection I'm probably the closest to would either be Wii U or Nintendo 64. Now, you know, within all of the collections, there's that holy grail, right? The NES holy grail is stadium events. Okay. Couple stories about stadium events. One, a lady posted on eBay, has no idea. She just went into her attic, grabbed her kid's NES, and was like, I'm gonna put this on eBay. And it ended up going for like $20,000 or something. And she's like, what is going on here? Why is this worth so much? And the reason is there's so few of them in the wild. The crazy thing is this game exists as like track and field or another. I don't know the exact. I'd have to Google it real quick, but it's not. The same game exists. Nintendo just bought it from Bandai and rebranded it. Okay, now look at these prices, you guys. I don't know. There's one here that says, you know, NES Stadium Events $56. We could let me check real quick. What did Stadium Events become? Because it was like, okay, world-class track meet. So after Nintendo bought the rights to Family Fun Fitness Pad and released their own version, the Power Pad, they also acquired the rights to Stadium Events and rebranded it as World-Class Track Meet. Right? So that's why this game is so valuable, because there's so few out there. So looking at some of these prices, if you guys are only listening, this one says authentic. There's 45 watchers. 21 it's at $2,200 right now. But again, it's the PAL version. So that's why it's not going for nearly as much. Family Fun Fitness Stadium Events, NES CIB water graded 7.0 Holy Grail 9.0 cart, $120,000 or best offer. One, do you want to buy? I'm out of focus. Hang on. Come on, camera. Do you want to buy a Lamborghini, a house, or Stadium Events graded? Wild. And all I'll say, guys, is go and watch Nintendo Quest. If you haven't had a chance to go, and if you haven't had a chance to see it yet, a lot of times it's on Prime. If you have Amazon Prime, go and watch it there. It's a fun watch. I love, like, Jay is a great friend of mine. We started a Star Wars podcast at one time. We did for a while, and just a great guy. Rob, the director, really good friend of mine. So highly recommend going and checking out Nintendo Quest. And there's more coming soon. In fact, these are the guys because of Rob, I have an IMDb profile because I was in one of his documentaries for Video Game Box Art. So if you can find the Video Game Box Art documentary, you'll actually see me from like 2016 at E3 talking about Super Mario Brothers 2. And so you can find me on IMDb, but I don't have a picture or anything because they charge you like it's like $20 to $35 a month just to have a membership on there to be able to like update your stuff. And I'm like, I'm good. I'm good. Unless I do something else that is worthy of that, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna mess with that. But you can find me on IMDb, which is kind of cool. So another stadium events, VGA 85 near mint. This is the German version, almost 20,000. Okay, and then there's another one from Germany, not graded or anything like that, almost 4,000. So I mean, it literally is the holy grail of NES games. And you never know. You could find this at a garage sale. Somebody just has no clue what they're holding on to, and they end up putting it out for sale. It's wild. It's crazy. Okay, I have a few people want me to check some games here. So let's see. Dan Little says, I used to play is it Rakuga Kids on the N64 all the time. I'm pretty sure it's PAL region game only. Well, let's check it out. Let's see what we can Rakuga Kids N64 looks like, in the box complete is 377 by itself, 75, 69, 115. So there's some that's relatively valuable, I would say. Pester Minator is one that Nate's saying to check out. Well, let's see what Pester Minator is. Sounds like pest Terminator. Let's see here. This is kind of fun, guys. I love looking. Here we go. Pest Terminator. Oh, this is one of those like. This is like the blue cartridge. They're all like weird. Like, oh yeah. Yeah, it looks like, I mean, these aren't cheap either. 109, 150, 99, 225. There's a graded one for 1,300. Very, very interesting. So let's see. Joe says, I remember getting lucky and buying City Folk on Amazon for $10 a month before Animal Crossing New Horizons came out. And a month later they were 90 plus. Oh, that's good luck right there. That's what's crazy about this stuff. You never know what's going to just randomly increase in value. What blows my mind is how quickly the 3DS has shot up in price. Like it's unbelievable to me how quickly the DS line, before it was even like fully gone, started to really jump in price, and it was kind of shocking to me. So Dan Little says check Mario Party 3. I see like almost 28. Looks like a 40, 25, 28, 60. That's a little bit high. And again, the other thing to look out for, guys, is when you're shopping. I don't know if you guys have ever had this before, but like I've been on eBay and getting like DS games, or especially like DS, Game Boy Advance games. They are notorious for being fake. So you have to be careful. What would happen, I remember I got my boys one time Lego Batman, and they could get like 30 minutes into the game and it would freeze at the same spot every time. And that was it. There was nothing we could do. And then I started researching it, and it ended up being a fake. So you'll look for games like one that is notorious that I look at often is Minish Cap for the Game Boy Advance. Okay. So you can see it's red, usually going for like 80, 85, 100, and then boom. 18, and it says 14 sold. Well, I mean, let's check it here. Let's see what the buy it now price is, because it says 18. Yeah, buy it now. It's not real. It's not real. It's a bootleg. So you have to be careful with that kind of stuff, because you don't even know if you're getting if you're getting the real deal or not. And then in some cases, like this one right here, if you look at this picture, this isn't even it's not even what the real cart looks like. They're just out there, and in some cases people don't know. In other cases, they're just trying to rip people off. There's no question. So you got to be careful with eBay about making sure stuff is legit. And a lot of times they'll pull the screw like this one here, and then show you the circuit board as proof that it's real. You can see the I don't even know what the indicators are, right? If I go to start shopping for this stuff, I will do my research ahead of time. Like, how can I tell a real Game Boy Advance game from a fake? You know, I did this extensively with my Pokemon, with the Soul Silver to make sure it was real. And I believe Soul Silver is actually, let's take a look, because I believe with Soul Silver you get the cart is actually, I think it's Soul Silver. It might be Pearl though. The card is actually transparent. Like it's a deep it's a deep red. I mean, this thing is chewed. That's crazy. Still selling. They have it for $92. Like, who's who's buying that? But yeah, I don't know if I have it. It might be right here in front of me actually. Yeah, it is. So I can't remember though if it's this one. It might be. I'd have to. Again, I was doing the research. I think it is. I think because it works with the pedometer, that Soul Silver is actually it's transparent. It might be Pearl though. I've got Pearl right here also. Let's see. I just want to make sure. No, that one's just the regular gray. Yeah, yeah. It's the if you really shine, if you hold this up to a real bright light, I don't think you can really pick it up, but you can see they're a different color. The Soul Silver is actually transparent, so it can really be easy to get faked, and then a lot of times they don't work well. So it can be really frustrating if you think you're getting a deal and then you're getting something that not only doesn't play, but it's not a genuine product. It looks like complete in box for Minish Cap, like $350. Like they aren't they aren't cheap. Nate says Conker's Bad Fur Day. There are a lot of fakes out there, and I believe it. You know, like I believe it. There's one for 24, and then 28, 50 complete, box and instruction manual, 202. This one just looks like somebody colored all over it with a Sharpie. It's going for 95. It's crazy. Like if you guys start collecting games, especially from like garage sales, sometimes even from like retro game stores, like you're like, how did this game get so dirty? Like, did they use this as a plate to like heat up their pizza, or like what is going on here? You oftentimes find all kinds of like permanent marker. And here's a tip for you: if you get some old games and they have permanent marker on them, if you take a dry erase marker and draw over that, and then you can kind of magic eraser or sometimes a little bit of alcohol, it will actually take off the permanent marker. And so that's one way to get some of like the Sharpie off of some of those older games. So because it can be really really frustrating. I have an old YouTube video that has a ton of views of me cleaning carts, just going through the process of of cleaning off like sharp. What I should do is honestly just have days where I just grab a stack of games that I need to clean and just go through and chat with you guys while I clean them up, because I have a ton in my collection that could use some love. I've got like even this Game Boy here, like it's worn off some, but like there's you can see it's kind of beat up, and there's like a name on the back of the battery pack and stuff. So the other thing too, if you've got some of these older systems, like you see, I don't have batteries in mine, the batteries will leak, right? So keep that in mind. Even your Wii remotes, anything like that, if you're not using it regularly, get those batteries out, because that stuff leaks, and uh it's just no fun. So let's see here. Chrissy says use enough whiteboard marker and it'll lift right off. I swear by my kids vandalize my whiteboard. Yeah, see? There you go. It's they're like the kryptonite of Sharpies. It's great. That is great. So, and then Nate said, "Are you teaching me when I was a kid?" Oh my goodness. Nate was a rascal, I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Well, guys, it's super fun taking kind of a dive into some retro games and looking at the prices, going out. Like, let me know if you end up going, doing some garage sales and finding some really killer deals, or if you've have some stories of finding really killer deals. I want to hear about it. I want to know, even some of the stuff in your collection right now. What are you the most stoked about? And if you guys enjoy this type of show, and maybe we want to do a deep dive into some of my collection where I could grab like 5 or 6 games, and we could just spend 30 minutes just kind of talking about the story behind the game, maybe a little bit of the history of the game, and then how I got it into my collection. That would be super fun for me as well. So I appreciate you guys being here with me live, and we will uh, we will see you guys in the next one. Bye, everybody.